So 48 and 48 at the All-Star break, and a very eventful second half coming up for the Pirates. You know, I guess you can look at it and be like, well, they're 500 at the All-Star break. That has to be a W considering that they were well under 500 with the last couple of series going into the break. And the Pirates, to their credit, took 7 out of the last 10, which was a 4-game split of the New York Mets, 2 out of 3 against the Brewers in Milwaukee, and then cap that off with sweeping the Chicago White Sox. And it's crazy to think about that they're only a game and a half out of the wild card in the NL. But on the other hand, it's like this team was 9-2 to start off the year. The offense isn't sustainable. The offense is very hit and miss. It's all or nothing. And if it wasn't for the rotation, more specifically Mitch Keller and Paul Skeens and Jared Jones, if it wasn't for those guys, this team would easily be a bottom 5 team in the league. Well, that's why it's 50-50 with the Pirates. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mac. Back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram. Link is down in the box below. So my overall thoughts about the first half of the season, the first, 96 games in the season, I should say, for the Pirates. They've had some glimmers of dominance. They've had some moments where they looked like a much improved team. And then there were also moments where they look like they don't even know how to play the game of baseball. So I'm just going to go over it position by position and personally what I believe this team needs to do in the second half. So the catching situation is a train wreck, to put it lightly. Yasmani Grandal, or should I call him Yasmani Groundout, is not a consolation prize to this catching spot at all. Defense is off, and he can't hit his way out of a paper bag. Henry Davis, you know my feelings on him. I am officially labeling him a bust, and I really don't know even if rehab can help him out at this point. Jason DeLay has some moments where he looks like that he's a good, viable backup option. And I think currently our best catcher right now is Joey Bart. I like Joey Bart. I think he's a patient hitter. I think he has, a good solid swing, and I think he plays catcher really well. I think he's a good defensive catcher. I have to stress really that this really wouldn't be a problem if Andy Rodriguez didn't get hurt before the season began, because I really do feel like if Andy Rodriguez was healthy, this catching spot would be a lot more defined. I think Andy Rodriguez is the best catcher on this team. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till 2025 for that to be the case. Then you got first base. It's kind of platooning, but I think at this point, Rowdy Tellez is going to be your everyday first baseman. You know, we were all harsh on him, and I still don't like the guy, but I'll give him credit where credit's due. He has really turned it around in the second half of the season. He's been swinging a much better bat lately. Is it enough for me to change my mind about him? Not right now. But yes, I will give him credit. That's just what I'm doing. I'm just giving him credit for right now. I just don't expect him to really keep it up all that much. Connor Joe, he's played first base a couple of times this season. I think Connor Joe is a good viable option at first base as well. Then you got second base. I think it's going to be between Jared Triolo and Nick Gonzalez. Me personally, I think Nick Gonzalez is the better option. I really like Nick Gonzalez, but, again, I have to stress, short sample size. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable for him, but I think Nick Gonzalez is the better option at second base than Jared Triolo at this point, both offensively and defensively. I like him better as just a better overall two-way player than Jared Triolo is. Third base, that's Keep Ryan Hayes. Not even a question. Moving along. And then shortstop, I think O'Neal Cruz has solidified that position pretty handily. But I have to say, O'Neal Cruz has been a major disappointment this season. Yes, I know it's kind of like Rowdy Tellez, where he's starting to figure it out. He's been swinging the bat better lately, but O'Neal Cruz strikes out a bunch of times, and I just expect better out of a guy who we've all hyped up to be the face of the franchise, so to speak. And he really needs to cut off on those swings and misses. The strikeouts really need to cut down. His arm is great, his defense is great, and he punishes the ball, but the guy just needs to cut down on the strikeouts, plain and simple. So there's that with O'Neal Cruz. Outfield, it's going to definitely be Brian Reynolds, Jack Sawinski, Michael A. Taylor. And this could all, when it's all said and done, it could be the best season of his career. It's not a hard argument to make. Fantastic season for Brian Reynolds. Andrew McCutchen's going to be your DH. I don't think that needs to be said much. And then you take a look at the rotation. The rotation has easily been the biggest surprise for the Buccos this year. Paul Skeens, enough said. 190 ERA, 80-plus strikeouts. He's 6-0. The dude is just phenomenal. He had a great all-star game appearance and debut as well. Walked the one batter, but he was able to retire the side fairly quickly. And it was highlighted by him being able to win the battle against Aaron Judge. But yeah, Paul Skeens, just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've seen people on social media say that he has GOAT pitcher potential. I don't disagree with it, but like, I don't know if I'm ready to jump the gun on that early. I mean, he's a transcendent talent without a doubt, with a golden arm, throws 100 like it's nothing at all. The splinker is just next to unhittable. But for right now, pump the brakes on him on calling him the GOAT. Okay? Let's just see how it goes. The guy's 22 years old. He has still a mountain to climb in the MLB before you can really get to that peak of, calling him the GOAT. That's just me though, but there's absolutely no doubt that he's a transcendent talent. Then you got Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller's figured it out in the second half. I'm really impressed with the way that Mitch Keller has rebounded. Um, I think a lot of people are forgetting how vital he is as well. His fastball's up to par. His off-speed pitches are starting to look better. He's getting his velocity back. He's getting his composure back. A lot of people, when they talk about the rotation for the Pirates, they automatically go to Paul Skeens. But Mitch Keller's here as well. I mean, like I said, Mitch Keller has really figured it out in the second half, and I think he's starting to look like, that the extension we threw at him before the season began was justified. So I'm very pleased to see Mitch Keller continuing to pitch well. Jared Jones, who's still on IL, he's obviously a rookie too, but he's been a very pleasant surprise for the Buccos this season. I'm very impressed with what Jared Jones was able to accomplish. Hopefully he can recover well, and hopefully he can come back and pitch well for the Bucs some more. But I really like what Jared Jones has done. I just wish the guy would just get more run support. And speaking of pitchers that need more run support, it's Martin Perez. This guy never gets any run support. And, that record that he has along with Jared Jones is very misleading. Guy needs run support, plain and simple. But Martin Perez has kind of dipped a little bit. And I personally blame that on Derek Shelton. Because think about it. He was out there down 6-0 to the Brewers. and he ended up giving up 3 more runs. That's the coaching staff's job to know that when your starter's out there struggling, you need to get them out of the game. At the very least, get the bullpen warmed up. And Martin Perez has lost his confidence since then. Now, yes, I know that he's been hurt a little bit as well, so I'm trying to cut him some slack, but I blame his lack of confidence on this coaching staff. But still, Martin Perez has had some quality starts this year as well. Marco Gonzalez is back in the rotation after returning from IL. I think that he has potential to be a solid starter for us. I just think he just needs some things to work on as well. Bailey Falter's on IL right now, so I imagine the Pirates are going to be doing a lot more of the bullpen games going forward. So that kind of leaves the door open as to who the third and fifth guy is going to be. Do you go with Brian Baracchi? Do you have Luis Ortiz be on there? Personally, I think it should be Luis Ortiz because he's looked a little bit more confident since taking the bump. But I think the Pirates are definitely going to be having some bullpen games in the second half. Back end of the bullpen has been a big disappointment this season. Aroldis Chapman, very streaky. Can't have that happen. Colin Holderman's been lights out. I was completely wrong about him. Holderman is definitely looking like a valuable asset to this bullpen. Hunter Stratton's on IL as well. And then really, I mean, Ryan Nicholas. I mean, that Ryan Nicholas and Dennis Santana, I think they're the two weak links of the bullpen. And then, of course, David Bednar is your closer going forward. Bednar got off to a rocky start to the season, but I think he's starting to return to form. So, in conclusion, this team has a mixture of good pieces that can really come out and be feisty in the second half and maybe get this team to over 500 at season's end, but they also have major concerns as well. Okay. That's just my take on it overall with the Pittsburgh Pirates as they stand, I think, perfectly at 48-48. I think this is just the perfect metaphorical reset button for the second half of the season. You're 500. You still got 66 games to go. You're not dead yet, but you definitely have some stuff. You definitely have your work cut out for you in the second half if you even want to sniff the playoffs. You got to hit the ball well, continue pitching well, and it's not impossible to overtake some of the teams because it's not like that you got the White Sox waiting for you again. You got some tough teams coming out of the break. You play the Phillies, and then you play the Cardinals again. Those are two tough series right there. But the Pirates have shown that they can go toe-to-toe with just about anybody in the majors this year. They took a series against LA, took a series against Atlanta, split a 4-game series with Philly, took a series against a good Minnesota Twins team, took a series against the Baltimore Orioles. But at the same time, they've also dropped series. Like I said at the beginning, took a series against the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee, a place we never win. But also, you got to know they've also dropped some inexcusable series this year as well, like getting swept by the Mets. Dropped both series to San Francisco this season, swept by the Oakland A's, lost a series to the Los Angeles Angels, lost series to mediocre Tampa Bay and Toronto teams. So you got to beat these teams that you're supposed to beat and teams that you need to beat. You can't keep dropping series. All right. And for the love of God, Derek Shelton, get a clue about when to go to the bullpen. All right. I may have said it months ago that the season was over, but this team is fighting. and they don't believe that the season's over because they actually believe in themselves. And you got to go out there and continue to play like you believe in yourself. And maybe hopefully, I can eat major crow on the rebuild and the season being done. That's the only time I ever want to be wrong about the Pirates. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below about the second half for the Pirates coming up. This is Mac checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.